right. Nice little intro that makes the awkwardness a little less awkward. Maybe it is still awkward, but I like having a little bit of buffer time just to know that it's about to go live versus me just staring at YouTube saying, hey, is it live? Is it live? Because now I can look at YouTube and I can see that the intro is playing, which means that we're live. It has been a week. It's been a month. I've had way too much to do. We've had a lot of deliveries here at the Balance Distribution Warehouse, and real life work has been keeping me super busy. Not to mention my poor daughter, her first week of school. So she's starting a new school. She's in 6th grade. So this is a middle school. Coming out of elementary school, this is a huge deal for her. She goes to different classrooms. She has different teachers. She has a locker. She's got all of these things to worry about. And the third day of school, she falls and she breaks her arm, which is the same friggin' arm that she broke in the beginning of summer at the last day of school. So just not fair. The kid is a great kid. And now that she's got a cast, it just sucks. So I had that to deal with. And then we got a new puppy, which is great. He is 9 months old. His name is Nox, N-O-X. He is a black lab. He's a lab rescue, so we're not sure what else he is. People say he has a little bit of hound in him. I don't know, but that is taking up a lot of time as well, as you could imagine. Having to help my daughter with a broken arm and have to help the family with a little puppy has been a lot of work. So I'm not sleeping super well. I got to catch up a little bit this weekend, but unfortunately I missed Gear Talk last week and the week before because I just didn't have the time to get over here to the office at night. I do these at 9 p.m. and it's pretty late, so I'm going to pay for it tomorrow, but I do whatever I have to sacrifice to spend some quality time with my friends out in the rollerblading universe. All right, let's get this show on the road. Hey everyone, welcome to Gear Talk. I can't even speak. Episode 101. Gear Talk is the show that we do every other week, try to do every other week, where I talk about the geekier side of rollerblading. If you know the difference between UFS and everything that came before it, and you wish that you could go back to the days of riveted frames on Majestic 12 shells that were called TRS, then you've come to the right place. Gear Talk is the show where we break down the confusion around rollerblading gear, and we try to make it easier for you to have a great experience every time you go out there and skate. I think time is limited, and we want to make sure that every time you hit the road or the trail or the skate park, you have the best experience possible. And for me, that means making sure that my bearings are dialed in, that my frames are set up the way that I want so that I can skate whatever sort of objects and terrain that I am set to do, that my cuffs are ready, that my buckles work properly, and that I've got the right boots. There are plenty of boots, cuffs, liners, shock absorbers available. You got to figure out which one fits your foot perfectly. It might not be the ones that fit my feet perfectly. If you've ever watched one of my reviews, you know that I am a 28.5 centimeter foot. That's a size 44, a 10.5. If it fits my feet, it'll probably fit your feet if you are the same size. But that doesn't mean that the width of the foot is going to be the same. I have a fairly narrow foot. That might mean that I could fit into skates that other people can't. Ultimately, regardless of what I think about skates, you got to find the skate that fits your foot. And that is a difficult thing. I try to give you as much information as I can when I'm up here. I answer as many questions as I can. We do this live on YouTube every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So make sure that you follow the YouTube and the subscribe and hit the bell and all that if you want to watch. I also do a preview post on Instagram and on Facebook at Back to Blading on both of those services. If you want a little reminder the day before and a little teaser of what we're going to be talking about, I always try to engage with comments, ask some questions so that I have more information that I can share with everybody during the show. So definitely follow on the Instagram and the Facebook if you've got any questions or if you want to get involved with the conversation. This week we're going to be talking about 3D printed frames, which is something that has popped up a few times in the last month that I've been answering a lot of questions, and I want to do a whole video about it just to talk about the things that I've learned over the last year and a half of having a 3D printed frame system that allows for anybody out there to design their own frames, and you can print your own frame walls at home on a 3D printer and go out there and skate them, and they actually work. But first, I'd love to thank our friends over at the helmetinitiative.org for helping us with our helmet giveaway. I am a big proponent of wearing your helmet when you skate. I always wear my helmet when I skate, with a few exceptions. If I forget my helmet at home and it's going to take too long to get home, I probably will skate without a helmet. But honestly, I try to wear my helmet every time. I think it's a nice little piece of insurance that I can take out, put something on my head to keep me from ending up in the hospital. That's ultimately the job of the helmet. Now, I haven't hit my head very often, maybe a couple of times with the helmet, very rarely, but when I do, and it will happen, when I do, I want to make sure that I am as protected as possible. So I do wear a helmet every time I go out and skate. I understand that helmets can be a little pricey, especially right now with the way inflation is and how it's a little difficult to spend money that you don't necessarily want to spend. We are here to help. So thanks to the helmetinitiative.org, I have a few helmets that I'm able to give away for every episode of Gear Talk. If you're interested in getting a helmet, I would love nothing more than to send a helmet out to you. Go to backtoblading.com/helmet. Oops, let me turn that on actually. I don't know that I did. .com/helmet. Is it on? It might be turned off. I might need to enable it. Let me enable it real quick. I only turn on the form during Gear Talk, and I leave it on for 24 hours after the show, 12 hours after the show. I want to make sure that it is for people who actually watch the show, who are engaged in the community, and who actually want a helmet. I find that if you leave something up there that says free, then a lot of people will just fill it out because they like free stuff. One example, we used to have some free stickers, and we marketed it as free on the website, and as soon as Google found the page and it said free something with a mailing address, people just started sending stuff in. They weren't rollerbladers. They didn't know anything about what we do. But they wanted free stuff. So, hey, there's free stuff. Backtoblading.com/helmet. The form is live now. It will be live for the next 12 hours. So that's middle of Thursday, my time. I do my best to keep it up as long as I can so that people out there who need a helmet have an opportunity to get a helmet. Now, you got to check your email. I do have a lot of people. I always send out the email afterwards. I pick somebody at random to give them a helmet. I send them an email and say, hey, you want a helmet? Let me know what size. I send them a link to the 888 Sweat Saver sizing chart to make sure that they get the right size. And I say, hey, let me know what size you need. I'd love to send you a helmet. Sometimes I don't get a response. So if you are going to send me a message and say, hey, I want a helmet, make sure that you check your email afterwards. Make sure that you check your spam folder. It usually takes a couple of days for me to send an email out. I usually do it over the weekend. But make sure that you check your email. I do want to make sure that these helmets go to good homes, and I don't want to, after a week say, oh, this person is not going to respond, send it to another person, and then somebody responds and say, oh, I was out of town. That's a horrible feeling. So one person a week, just make sure that you check your email if you win. I want to make sure that you get the helmet. If you are in the US, I send out a helmet directly from our warehouse. We have a few dozen helmets. They are Sweat Saver certified Sweat Savers. They're the 888 certified Sweat Savers. I've got a few different colors in stock. And usually I just ask what colors you like. I give you a list of the colors that I have in stock and I say, which one do you like? I've got black for sure, but I've got some different colors that I can send out. If you are in the US, I'm happy to send them out. It costs me about $10 to ship them out. If you're outside of the US, it gets a little more difficult. The problem there is not only is shipping more expensive, but customs. So if you import something into a country, usually you pay some sort of an import fee, a customs fee, something like that. That can get a little pricey. So rather than send you a helmet, we're just going to send you $50. So we just take money out of our PayPal account and we send it to your PayPal account. That way you can buy a helmet locally. The US dollar is fairly strong right now, so you might be able to get more than just a helmet. You can get yourself some wrist guards or something like that. The money that we make from our YouTube ads and from our Patreon go to help with this helmet giveaway. So patreon.com/backtoblading if you'd like a little bit more information about what we do there. It is not a big fancy Patreon, to be honest. We don't post a ton of exclusive stuff. This is more for the people out there who want to support the show, who want to support people out there who need helmets. If you've got a few bucks a month, it really does add up and it helps us out. I mean, a couple bucks a month over a year is enough for us to ship out a helmet. So that's a really great thing that you can do to help support the cause. Patreon.com/backtoblading. We do post some photos and some live streams and some podcasts. You'll get the podcast a day early, which is kind of a nice perk if you're really interested in listening to us on the podcast. But don't do it if you're tight on money or if you're a student and you're supposed to be saving for something. This is for people who have a little bit of extra income and don't mind spending $1 a month to support a good cause. So helmetinitiative.org, backtoblading.com/helmet if you want to sign up to win a helmet. One helmet every episode of Gear Talk goes out for free. And patreon.com/backtoblading if you got a little bit of disposable income and you want to support the cause. All right. Let's talk about my current setup. So I was thrilled to actually get out and skate big wheels this last week. I know it's crazy. It's been so long since I've skated big wheels. The warehouse is right around the corner from an entrance to the Tobacco Trail, which is my favorite trail around here in, the Triangle, I guess. I haven't skated too many trails in the Triangle, but definitely in Durham. It's the best trail. It used to be an old railroad trail where they had train tracks and they converted it. They got rid of the railroad. The railroad back in the days used to bring coal from the southern North Carolina. There is a South Carolina, but this is in North Carolina still, but southern area. They would bring coal from there all the way to downtown Durham, where they would use the coal to heat up the steam so that they could dry out the tobacco plants. So if you ever watched Mad Men, and they were talking about Raleigh, Durham, which isn't a place, it's an airport. But in Durham, the Lucky Strike company was based. There are still, I don't think there's any tobacco companies down there, but there's still a lot of traces of old tobacco in downtown Durham. You can see the Lucky Strike water tower where the train ends. They converted that train track over to a trail a few years ago. So you're able to skate on the trail, ride your bike, run. You see people out there all the time. It's an amazing trail. I'm very fortunate to to have the warehouse right around the corner from that trail. And I was able to skate my big wheels this last week. So this is, see if I can reach it, my big wheel setup. Yeah. All right, so whenever I skate big wheels, I usually, not always, but I usually go for my Powerslide Next. These are a really great boot for me. Now, I've heard a lot of people who don't like the Powerslide Next, and the reason is this is a very thin boot. It is a narrow boot. And there is an area up here. Let me take the liner out so I can show you a little bit closer. There's an area up here. You can see it on both sides, that comes in at a really weird angle. And I don't know why it still does that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it digs into the top of your foot. The nice thing is when you slide your foot in there all the way in, this rounded area goes over the top of your foot. But if you've got a chubby foot, or if you've got a bigger foot and you're trying to downsize, this is going to dig right into your foot. It is a really weird design. Just so tight in this area. I actually get a little bit of that feeling when I'm skating. Thankfully, with the shock absorbers that come in it, they're very thin shock absorbers. Get out of there. They are built into the insole, which is why it makes it so difficult to get them out. Get out of there. There it goes. They're the MyFit liners, the stock ones that you see at most of the Powerslide products. It is also a raised heel So it's raised heel plus a shock absorber. Very thin shock absorber though, very responsive. It's very dense. This is the sort of shock absorber that you want when you want some more responsiveness in skating. You don't necessarily need that pillowy SL Shift Solomon shock absorber. This is really good for responsiveness, which is what you want when you're skating big wheels. You know, you're looking for edge control. You're looking for power transfer. You're looking for the least amount of wiggle inside of your skate as possible, because you want every single inch of your stride to go down onto the pavement so that you can continue skating fast. You're not doing airs, you're not doing gaps, things like that. These skates do get used for urban a lot. Not for me though. I don't like a big wheel skate for urban. I feel like anything bigger than 4x90 is just too tall. These are the Compass 110s. They are the they're the Carborough wheels. These are designed for just killing trails. Just skate as fast as you can for as long as you can. They're the biggest wheel that we make at Compass. It is really just designed for distance. And you can see the bearings are the Compass bearings. They are extremely clean, fast Swiss bearings. Absolutely love them. They give you a little bit more of a coast than you would get with traditional greased bearings like the Fitty Fitty bearings. You're not going to notice it that much, but for me, when I need every little push to add as much endurance as possible, I need the smoothest bearings that I can get. And these are the ones that I ride. I got these 3x110 frames. They are a 270 wheelbase, which for me is perfect. Now it does extend a little bit further past the heel and the toe than I would like. The negative to that is if you're doing crossovers, especially backwards crossovers, fast crossovers, and you have hockey brain, you might clip the front wheel of this skate with the back wheel of the other skate. That's not really a problem when I'm skating trails though. In this case, I just want a stable ride. So a little bit of a long wheelbase is really beneficial. 270 for me is the perfect length. And regardless of the size of the wheels, having a wheel at 270 millimeters between themselves puts this rear wheel right where I want it under the heel. You can see the heel of the skate. You know, if my heel of my foot is probably right here, the heel being a little bit in front of the rear wheel makes a really nice, comfortable ride. You can lean back a little bit more. Conversely, if you had a shorter wheelbase, do I have anything with a short wheelbase here? Let me see my 250s. Do I have any 250s? Nope. Those are all 90s. You're going to have to take my word for it. If you have a short wheelbase, like usually they come for the 4x80s, they're a 243 wheelbase. That's pretty short. So if your foot is 28.5 centimeters, the heel of your foot is going to be in front of this wheel is going to be more here. So the heel of your foot is going to be behind where the wheel is. That is a bad ride. That's when you start feeling like you're going to fall backwards when you land on airs. Like that elephant in the circus standing on the ball. That's what that feels like. And that's not a good feeling. I think slalom people love that. You know, if you're skating slalom and you've got like 3x90 or 4x, you know, I don't know what they use, 72s maybe, and they got a really short wheelbase with a 2-mil rocker, that makes a lot of sense to me. When I'm skating aggressive, I want a long frame so that I have a little bit more wheel behind my heel. I usually skate anti-rocker, so that makes it a lot more stable when I'm landing spins or things like that. Same goes for skating trails. I want a little bit more stability, and when I'm skating, I want to be able to lean back a little bit and put more weight on this rear wheel. But these are great skates. My friend Mark sent these frames over to me. I was skating the 4x90s. If I'm just skating trails, just skating distance, 3x110 is the way to go. I don't like to mess around with 3x125s. I feel like 125s are just a little bit too big. Like, it just feels like they're so tall. I know that you get a little bit more coast. I've skated the 3x125s. These swells are 3x125. They are very long, which is fine. I don't mind skating the long, but just the wheels are so big. It just feels like it's unnecessary for the amount of skating that I'm able to do. They're probably great, and you'll probably go faster with 3x125s once you get used to it. But for me, just the length of it, the wonkiness of having a higher like ride height, it just feels weird. It feels awkward, especially coming as an aggressive skater. This feels like I'm not really attached to the road. It feels like I'm just kind of floating on top of it, which might be desirable. Should probably actually try skating these again. Maybe I'll try skating these next time. It's been a long time since I've skated these. The problem with these is you can see the toe. These have the frame adjusted inside so that you can do double push a little bit easier, under push a little bit easier. And while that is nice, it's not great. So what I probably will do, why don't I do that? Why don't I put these bad boys, these crazy frames, on my next? That could work out well. Yeah, I'll try that next time, and I will report back and let you know how it goes. Now, I'm not feeling those boots. The swell aren't great for me, but definitely, if I like the next, I'll probably be able to handle the 3x125s there pretty easily. So yeah, big wheels. Who would have thought? The weather is starting to get really nice. It is a bit rainy still, but I found a window where I was able to go out, and it's just around the corner, so I can skate for 30 minutes. Over my lunch break, get myself a Cliff Bar or what do I RX bar, and just go skate for a little bit. It's a really nice way to break up the day, especially when I'm, if you didn't see the pre-show, definitely dealing with a lot on my head, trying to clear the head. And I can't skate the mini ramp because I've got frame boxes all over it. So just getting out, skating, no better feeling. But most of you out there are aggressive skaters. So I did get to skate aggressive over the last weekend. And this last weekend was my first time in a long time skating flat. Oh, where are they? Get off, you gods. All right. Current setup is my Adapt Brutale 2022 version with the Chris Farmer Prime frames with 58mm 88A wheels on the outside and then the 58mm 92A wheels on the inside. These are also compass bearings. I like to skate fast. I like as less resistance as possible. And honestly, I'm mostly skating skate park, so I don't get them too dirty. I don't recommend compass bearings for everybody, especially if you're just going to fall into the dirt, falling off handrails, things like that. I don't skate many rails, and when I do, it's usually at the skate park. So this is my setup that I really love for skate park sessions. It's a nice, fluid, clean ride. Don't have to break in the bearings. They are crisp out the box. I am mixing with two hardnesses. So this is something that they've been doing for a while. I think Dead had the 95A 58mm wheel that people would mix with 92s on the outside. I never tried it before. And I was pretty impressed with how well it keeps you from sticking on top of the ledge. I didn't hear any goose squeaking, which is usually something that when you're skating flat on a frame that isn't really designed for flat. The Prime frame is designed for anti-rocker. It is a pretty solid flat frame, if you ask me, but it is not really designed for skating flat. It is designed for skating anti-rocker. It has a nice deep groove and a wide split. Those are the two hallmark features of a nice anti-rocker frame. But it worked great for flat. I didn't get any wheel bite that was noticeable, at least no wheel bite that I didn't deserve. It is not like a wish frame. You can't just jump on and slide like an anti-rocker frame, but still skate flat, which is amazing that you can do that with a wish frame. But you have to work for it a little bit on this, and it worked pretty well for me. I do feel like the harder wheels on the inside worked really well. You can see, is this the right one? I think this is the wrong one. I did have a little bit of graphic wear off on these wheels, and that was because when I miss on a Royale, sometimes I'll jam it a little bit and I'll hit the graphic, and that just moves the, rubs the wheel a little bit, which is, where the graphic is just printed on. But Absolutely loved the setup. I loved skating flat. It was just a really fun experiment. So next week I am going to stick with flat, but I am switching out to the Balance 2. So this is my new setup for the weekend. I'm going to try, weather permitting, I'm going to try to go back to Marsh Creek and do everything that I did last week, but in this new Balance 2 frame. This frame is designed more for flat. It has a slightly tighter groove. It's got a deep chamfer, but a tighter groove. The split is still pretty wide. This is 110, 105 mil, I think. So it's not crazy wide like the 120 mil that you get on the prime frame. But because the groove is so shallow and the chamfer is nice and deep, it'll make it a lot easier for me to skate without getting wheel bite. I am sticking with the same setup. So I've got the 5888 on the outside, 5892s on the inside. White balance frames. I love this look. I love a white frame with black axles. I think it's just a really cool look, especially on an all black boot, which, let's be honest, I mean, you guys can say what you will, but every boot should be available in all black because all black is the best color. If you want to accessorize, you know, get yourself some frames, get yourself some wheels. Don't mess with a good thing. A black boot with a black sole plate? Come on. Look how beautiful that is. Anyway, I'm super excited about this weekend. I will be skating this skate. Absolutely love these skates. They fit my feet like a glove. It's been a bit since I skated aggressive, especially out at a skate park where I could skate anything. Last time was when I was only doing sole tricks. So looking forward to trying everything again, skating the Balance 2s. I've never skated the Balance 2s flat. Actually, I take that back. I did skate them once at the skate park in the mountains, but I never really skated street. Again, it's a skate park, but grinds, ledges, things like that with Balance 2s. Really looking forward to seeing what they feel like. All right. Exciting times. So I've got a little bit of housekeeping I've got to do real quick. I would love nothing more than to answer your questions. So once I go through all this, I'll go through and check all the questions. So if you're watching live, we do this every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Ask a question, tag Back to Blading in the chat. I would love to answer your questions. Any question is fair game. I can always skip it if I don't want to. But I don't think I've skipped any questions, except for stupid questions from my friend Ben. But sometimes I skip those, but I'm still thinking about him. I just don't want to talk about it. Tag Back to Blading in the chat so that I can see your question. Anything goes, mostly gear related would be best. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. So as I said, I've had a pretty busy couple of weeks. We got in a big frame shipment. So we got the Chris Farmer prime frames, which I think I shared here before. I was skating them last weekend. These are the Chris Farmer prime frames. They are in stock now. We've got a few dozen left in each side. I wasn't expecting them to sell out this quickly, but they're definitely selling faster than I had anticipated. They are an orange core. They are based on the Prime design. So this is the Core System 2 orange core, charcoal walls with the Farm logo based on the Parliament Funkadelic logo, which I was listening to Parliament while I was packing orders just because it was a nice inspired time to listen to Parliament. They come with black core axles. These are compatible with all different prime frames as well as the Balance 2s, so you can mix and match, which is a lot of fun if you're trying to create these custom setups for yourself. This is the bundle that comes with the Red Eye wheels. These are Chris's Red Eye 57mm 92A wheel. They are a kind of a square, I think Bravo would call this an aggressive profile. It's got a flat with a rounded edge. Kind of like them. They're not as square as like the Undercover 58s, but they have a really nice ride tread to them. They come with a 50/50 ABEC 9 bearings, and you can get this bundle pre-assembled on the website. Unfortunately, I don't think you can access the frame bolts, so you're going to have to take the middle wheels out in order to put them in. I wish I had thought about that, but they look nice when you open the box. It's a nice custom box that we made with Chris doing the alley-oop negative Mach to top, I don't know what you would call that, fish brain, alley-oop fish brain, I don't know how you would call that term, but he's a very good rollerblader, and the box is really, really cool. At the same time, we also got the white frames in. So these are the white cores. We've had these before. They're a restock of the white primes. White frames are just a classic look. They come with the silver cores, silver axles. You can get them ready to roll if you like. The cool thing is that we also sell these as wall only. So if you already have a pair of cores, so if you have your cores at home and you bought the prime frames in the past, maybe you bought John's prime frame and you got the gold ones, or you've bought the black or the white ones, or you bought the Sasha's, you can buy Chris's frame walls from us. We will take apart a pair of frames and we will sell just the walls so that we can keep you grinding. You know, this is indestructible. If you break one, we replace it. No questions asked. Well, questions asked. We want to know how you broke it so that we can improve it. And I have replaced a couple, so I can't say that they're indestructible, but we guarantee that if they do bend or cause any damage, we will replace them. So just get in touch if you have any issues. But because they are replaceable, and we'll get to this a little bit later, this will last forever. All you need to do is replace the frame walls. You can get new frame walls. So you just pop them off of the Chris Farmer frame and you can put them on this silver core. But what happens if we've got cores that we can't sell? Well, the orange cores are very cool. Oops, very cool with the white walls. Look at that. So this is the Chris Farmer core, the orange core, with the white prime wall. Now, we don't have a ton of these in stock. We sell this as a complete. We didn't order extra cores so that we could create this. This is if somebody wants a wall, we're not going to say no. Chris gets the same $10 regardless of if we sell a complete, if we sell a wall. So if it has his name on it, we give him $10. That is our guarantee with a rider. Whenever we sell something with your product, we always take care of you. For prime frames, we do $10 royalty, which is pretty great. But what do we do with the cores? Well, we are selling them as they come available on Balanced Distribution. So balancedist.com, you can find more information at 5050frames.com and click on shop. You'll be able to see them. But these are the orange cores with the white walls, black axles, and I tell you what, this is a pretty crazy look. Have you seen the new shadows, the Eugen shadows? These would look really nice with those Eugen shadows. It's a beautiful look. The orange really just pops, and you can see the orange when you're skating. So, you know, I don't know how the light is here, but maybe it'll look better here. But you can see the orange when you skate, just a little flash of orange. So cool. Absolutely love this setup. We don't have a ton of these, so I'm only, again, going to sell them when we sell walls. So bookmark that page, and whenever you think about it, check and see if we have them in stock. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But we will put them together for you so that you can get yourself a full custom set. Very, very cool. And if you have a shop that you love, that loves you, you can send them a screenshot. Send them a screenshot of this and say, hey, can you make me one of those? And the shop can do it, because they can order everything that they need. They have to get the cores with the Chris Farmers, but if they've got Chris Farmers in stock, they can order the walls for you and set this setup for you. They can order the black axles, everything. It's going to be really, really nice. Anyway, super excited about those. We also have the new t-shirts. So wearing the black t-shirt, this is the Balanced t-shirt. This is the one that Chris wanted. I also made them in orange. I wore this in my last video. Orange with the classic black and white Balanced logo. Love color. Try to bring more color to the industry. It got really dark for a while where it was just black and gray and white. I think that's not enough. Like, we need to be having fun out there when we're skating, and I think a little bit of color frames, color t-shirts, color wheels, You know, I like a black boot. Let the wheels really share the color and the fun. Or, you know, a t-shirt that matches your wheels. It's always a nice thing. A little subtle orange with a nice subtle orange up here. That's what you do. That's how you make the outfit coordinate. All right. In addition, so we've got, I guess I could talk about that later. I'll talk about that later. Trying to figure out how to walk through all of this. Made sense in my head beforehand, but I think right now I want to get into questions first, and then I want to talk a little bit about 3D printed walls. And that will segue us into everything else. So let's talk about your questions. Let me get a little bit of water. I will scroll up to the talk again. If you have any questions, please tag back to blading so that I can see them. I don't see super great with my eyes. I need glasses. I wear glasses, but with the lights here, I don't want the glasses reflecting into the camera. So I don't wear my glasses when I do the videos. And I don't wear my glasses when I do when I skate either. So I don't know. It sucks wearing glasses, but without them, I cannot see. All right. Let's scroll all the way to the top. First question, Xander Williams. More of a statement than a question. 909 cuffs fit faction and add support and stiffness. So one of my concerns with the faction skate, where the heck are they? Here they are. Is the support. I feel like this is a really, really great skate. My issue with it was when I was skating big wheels, I would flop around left and right. And after I was skating more aggressive, taller skates, like a 60 mil anti-rocker when I was skating at my skate park, I could feel my foot kind of moving around inside the skate. I don't know of a solution for that. I did find that switching out the stock liner made a bit of a difference. Heat molding the stock liner made a bit of a difference. If you can get this cuff, put a them cuff on here, and that makes it work better, that might be nice. Because I think this has got so much potential. I haven't finished my review yet. I really need to do that. I haven't finished my review yet, but it's got so much potential. It is the perfect concept. It's just not perfect for me for skating yet. And a lot of people out there are doing amazing tricks with them. I know that there's a lot of potential here. For me, just the fit just wasn't right. And yeah, if the cuff can be swapped out to a them 909 cuff, that might be all that it needs to be a really great skate. I'll give that a try in the future if I can find some time. I'm sure I will be able to find some time. Those cuffs, I'm not really a... Get in there. There it goes. I'm not really a cuff expert. I know a lot about frames and wheels and bearings, but when it comes to sole plates, but when it comes to cuffs, I just haven't skated enough cuffs to know the difference. And that's something that I do need to invest a little bit of time in. So I'll see if I can get maybe some black them 909 cuffs. I'm sure I could find those. Ravenous Pathogen, the 10-pack of 80mm compass wheels are awesome in my PR80s. Thanks. Absolutely, couldn't be happier with our 80mm wheels. Again, another statement, not a question, but I appreciate any form of comment. Definitely appreciated. Yeah, I think the PR80s, I do want to get myself a set of the PR80s. I think that's a really interesting frame. I'd rather have those than the advanced, the 80s with the 100s on the outside. I feel like that's more of my style. And I don't like to bring attention to myself. I think anything with 5 wheels is going to bring attention to you. 5 wheels where 2 of them are these huge wheels, definitely going to bring more attention to you. Maybe I'll try them though. They might look nice on the wall, so who knows. But yeah, I'm glad that you got the wheels. I'm glad you like them. We work really hard on getting our urethane dialed in. Like, it's not something that, you know, we went to a lot of different factories to find the right urethane, and we've worked with our factory to improve the urethane over the years. The formula that you got back in the days when we first started the wheel project is slightly different than the formula now. You know, we've worked with our factory to make them a little bit more durable, a little bit faster, and you'll find that each of the different durometers has a little bit of different responsiveness and different bounce to it. It's been a really great project, and yeah, I'm really thrilled with the future. There's more to come with our wheels, that's for sure. All right, Mr. Darren25, have you thought about trying a Wizard setup again? Hey, my ears must have been burning. Yes, absolutely. I still have these Seba that I would love to gut and put the Intuition liner in there. I think this would be a really great skate for me to try the Wizard stuff in. And I've got a pair of Intuitions. Actually, I should probably buy myself a pair of the V2s. But gut this, swap it out with an Intuition liner. I think that would be amazing. Again, the question though is NR100 or PR80s or Advance. I don't know. I'll have to get there when I get there. But yes, I definitely would love to have a more dedicated Wizard setup. I did a little bit of flatland stuff with the Kaiser Advance 90s, the Kaiser 90 frames, the Kaiser Element 90s. They were a really great ride. But I feel like things would be a little bit easier with an actual Wizard progressive rocker or natural rocker frame. Xander Williams, we have more mixed durometer wheels sets to come. Yes, we're working on them. I just actually placed an order today for some harder wheels. You know, read that however you want, but for 50/50. So I think 50/50 right now, we offer 85, 88, and 90 after skating, you know, after skating this setup. I see the value in having a harder wheel. I don't think people should skate 92 on the outside, but definitely on the inside I can see there is an advantage there. So I don't like to make products that I don't skate. I know some companies might make products that the market asks for. I don't really need to grow my market. Like, I'm very happy with the market that I have. It's me. You know, I make stuff that I love, and I skate everything that I've made, every product with a few exceptions. I think, yeah, Chroma, you know, I don't skate Chroma because I already make great wheels for 50/50 and I skate all of those wheels. And I don't want to, you know, take wheels that other people might like because Chroma is so limited. But I try to skate everything that I make, you know, and I don't like to make things that I don't like. I didn't want to make a 92 because I didn't see the value in it. I see the value in it. So we will share more information when we can. But definitely there's some value there. So yes, mixed durometer will be coming. You'll probably have to buy them separately. I probably won't have them as a pack, but you'll be able to get 50/50 wheels, black and white, in whatever durometer you want. Not every durometer I want. That was wrong. You'll be able to mix and match with different durometers if you want. Not every durometer. I don't want to make super hard wheels. 95A, I still feel like 95A, way too hard. Like, if I can skate fine with prime frames flat on 58, 92, I don't know why anybody needs 95. Like, that just feels like rocks. Feels like skating any rocker, but flat, I guess. Which I guess could be fine. I don't know. Darren, I have the Powerslide Mega Cruiser Pro Coffee Color. I loved the 3/125 for cruising, but then love them, but I changed to 4x90 and put the Intuition liner in. I love them even more. That is perfect. I'm a 4x90 guy. I love my 4x90 setups. I do think that 3x125 has its merits. It just depends on what you're skating. And I'm a big fan of getting the right skate for the right job. For me, when I'm skating trails, 3x125 is a little big. I'm going to try it again. 3x110 is the right height for me. 4x90, definitely my favorite urban setup. So if I'm skating, I have these old Fusions. This was my 4x90 setup on the Next. I just took these Trinity frames off. They're $275, I think. 4x90, they're a really great ride. I have the Elements, and I wasn't a big fan of the rocker on the Elements. I don't have a flat 90 UFS frame. Otherwise, I would probably try them with the Adapts and just try to skate a little bit more urban with that. I love the idea of skating urban. That's why we kind of did Compass. It's for people who just want to skate big wheels, but also are aggressive skaters. I think there's a big market for that, and it's a lot of fun. A lot easier on your knees. You could do it for longer. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of a rocker, so I want a flat 90. But I do think 4x90 has a lot of merit. Let me see if I can get this back up there. Ooh. All right. More questions. Anuj, if you have them on hand, can you compare the weight of a Solomon boot with a flat balance 2 frame to an Aeon? Good question. I do. So let's see. Start with a scale. All right, let's get some Aeons. So these are stock Aeon Basics. Aeon Basics. In grams, these measure 1618 grams. 1618 grams. I don't know if I have any Solomons. Can I do a Majestic 12? Majestic 12 might be okay. I think so. Majestic 12s were the lightest. So this is an older Balance 2. Yeah, I don't know where those Solomons, I had those STIs. I don't know where they went. I don't see them though. Let me take these these were the tester Balance 2s. These are the originals that we had. Oops. So that was 1618 if I remember correctly. Take these frames off. Do I have Balance 2s? I can take them off of this frame or this skate. This is Balance 2 with 58 millimeter wheels. I'll take these off. The beauty of UFS, a lot of people talk crap about UFS. The beauty of UFS, if you use it properly, is that it makes maintenance so easy. Just swap the frames whenever you want to configure a new ride. You don't have to take wheels out. You don't have to do anything like that. You can access the frame bolts with no problem. If you want to skate big wheels, you want to skate 80 millimeter wheels on a Them 908 or Them 909, all you have to do is pop off the frame and put on a new frame. Super easy. All right, so these frame bolts are too long. I will put these frames in the boot so that we get the right measurement. This is all the stuff that you would get, is just not mounted to the boot. So 1618 for a flat Aeon 60 Basic from 2000, probably 2020. 2020. Majestic 12, 1820. So 1820 for the Majestic 12 and the Aeon 1618. So you're talking about 200 grams, give or take. 200 grams more. The Solomon might be a little bit lighter, and the reason I say that is the Solomon has a flat base, so it doesn't have wasted material. Like inside the Majestic 12, you've got the raised heel. So they need the sole plate to be a little bit heavier because there's more material under there. A Solomon doesn't need that. It is just boot, and then they just put a sole plate on the bottom. I think testing a USD 7 might be a good choice. I don't know how light these were, but that would probably be a good choice. Let me test this real quick since we've got it out. So 1618, and then what was it, 1820, I think it was. Again, UFS makes this super easy to do. Thank you, UFS. Thank you, Solomon. 2001. All right. So we got the USD 7 / God's Tim Franken / God's Team skate, also available in blue somehow. So 1618, 1820 is actually heavier. 1951. So I don't know what made this so heavy. It might have been the liner is heavier. But this is should be a pretty light boot. Sole plate should be pretty clean because it's just a flat boot, but it's a little bit heavier. My theory was wrong. The Aeon is a really hard boot to beat. Less hardware, less layers of material that separate the riding area with the boot. You want as little layer of material as possible. That's why the Razor's Shift feels so floppy for me, because they've got that sole plate that's flopping around, isn't really riveted in. It's a great idea in concept, but having it actually bolt to the boot, that's really nice, and it didn't do that. But from a weight perspective, I bet the Solomon would be about the same as the Majestic 12, maybe a little bit lighter, but I don't have a pair of Solomons on hand. But know that it is pretty light. You really can't beat the Majestic 12. I think the Majestic 12 is the lightest skate on the market aside from the Aeon. Great question. I haven't weighed things very often. I just see somebody, so Freestar Roland says tag back to blading. I don't know if there's a question, but I can't read it. So if you have a question, make sure that you tag back to blading so that I can see it. Brew Mentionator. Hey, Brew Mentionator. Do you have any plans to jump on the metalcore wheel train? I'm not a fan of metalcore wheels, and I know that a lot of people love them. So again, I only make stuff that I like. I don't have to be in that market. My question would be, why do people want metal cores? And the reason is they are faster. So the core being really hard means that there's less bounce within the core. So if you look at a 60, like one of our 65 millimeter wheels, where would they have it? What's a good example? Let me take these down. Let me see if I can paint this picture on why anybody would want metal core wheels. I don't have any, do I? I don't have any here. So let's take this standard aggressive wheel. Do I have one off? Oh, I do. Oh, I have these from the Messers. So this is a standard aggressive wheel. This is a 60. Yeah, 60. You can see here the core is this black area. That's the hub that they put on the inside of the mold when they cast this, this urethane. So they put the hub in, they cast the urethane around it, they take it out of the mold, they cut it down. You can see the little, it might be not be easy to see on the camera, but you can see the little lines where they mill down the edge. This is the rough bottom, this is the bottom in the mold, and then this is the top in the mold. It comes out because there's overflow, and then they cut this down. This hub can be a different size, but you still need to be able to pour into this cavity. So that's what limits the size of the hub. If you look at a big wheel, so this is an 80 millimeter wheel. It's kind of hard to see because it's in this Aeon, but you see this 80 millimeter, you can see this hub actually starts like, I don't know, 40 millimeters out. And then there's urethane, the green is the urethane from the hub to the outside. So what you want for the fastest ride possible is the least amount of urethane and the biggest hub possible. That will make just the urethane touch. So the urethane is the bouncy area. You don't want the bounce, you want just the ride. That's why sometimes hard wheels could be really fast. The problem with hard wheels though is they hurt. They're really hard and they can slip out. So what Famous and Apex Power Slide Undercover, they do with the metal core wheels is they have a really hard core, and then they pour just a little tire around it, just a little strip of urethane on the outside. Works really well for speed. What it doesn't work well for is shock absorption. So if you're skating those, just hurts. Especially for us older guys that have bad knees. Skating aluminum core wheels, not a fun experience. Very responsive. If you're looking for speed, very responsive, but not the best. In addition, the urethane that's being used isn't great on those wheels. I don't know where they're poured, but it does wear a lot faster than traditional wheels, traditional just straight urethane wheels. And I don't think it has anything to do with the process, like the fact that it's just a urethane wheel around the aluminum core. I think it's that the urethane that they're using isn't the highest quality. In saying that, I do think there's a way to make a fast wheel that gives you all the benefits without compromising, without having it super hard like aluminum would be. We have nothing to announce yet, but I'm always looking at ways to improve our wheel technology. That's something that I feel we have really great urethane, and we have a really great relationship with our factory. They love listening to my crazy ideas, and they go along with it. Like doing a 56 millimeter wheel, you know, they were totally down with it, and they helped me with profiles, and they came up with some great ideas on how we can use the 56 millimeter wheel in the future for future projects. Bigger prints. They wanted to, when we did, where's the wheel? Oh, I lost it. Oh, it's over there. That's why. We asked them about doing bigger prints. So these chroma wheels, you can see they print almost all the way to the edge. And we could print almost all the way to the edge because they invested in new equipment to do bigger prints for us, and they enhance their ability so they can make even better looking prints. We are working on a lot with our factory, and we're very, very excited about the potential. Nothing to announce now. It won't be an aluminum hub, but we do have some ways of making wheels that are going to be super fast for you, but with a super high quality urethane. Stay tuned. Probably won't be next year. It'll probably be 2024. I got a lot of plates spinning right now, but I do have ambition to really tackle the wheel market because I think we can do a really good job there. Great question. Stay tuned. Ravenous Pathogen, please start selling the core frame by itself. I want another for my TK Crawfords. So I will talk a little bit more about that in the future. The problem that, so I'll mention it now, but I'll mention it again. The problem with selling cores by themselves is we don't make any money. Just to be completely honest. These are really expensive. We sell them at a little bit over cost. And it's not good business to sell cores. I mean, I love you guys. I want to help, but I need to make some money on things. So the way we can make money is we sell them as a complete. So we'll make money on the walls. And this is just a way to get walls out there. That's the, you know, I don't lie to y'all. I try to be as transparent as possible. These cost a lot of money to make. You know, it is basically it is an aluminum frame that you would find normally for 99 bucks by themselves. And we're selling them with the walls for 120. The walls don't cost 20 bucks, you know? Like, there's a very expensive project. This is the most expensive part of the frame. So being able to sell these by themselves would be nice. It's very difficult for us to justify, though. But we will have some available. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But yes, I hear your plea. I wish I could do more. I just can't afford it. You can maybe buy some used ones. I see some popping up on Blade Trade from now and then. If you want to get a set, and then you can always sell the walls aftermarket. I don't know if that's something that you can do, but you know, buy yourself some prime frames again and get the prime walls and put them aside for your anti-rocker setup. I don't know. Try to do what we can. I think we've been pretty generous with the core system in general, open sourcing it, everything. But yeah, it's a difficult balance to try to actually have a profitable business while still giving as much as we can to the community. But thank you for the interest, and thank you for supporting Guy. He's a good-looking guy, not the smartest guy, but he's pretty good. He's all right. Actually, he's pretty smart. I'm just kidding. Let's see. All right. Let me... Let me stop taking questions. I have a few more questions, but I'm going to jump into the main event so that we can talk about the printed frames. It's been a bit since I've been able to share some new 3D printed frames with you, and I'm very, very excited to see more people out there finding the core system and saying, you know what, the prime frames are cool, but I bet I could do better. And not just saying it, but actually doing it. So the prime frames are a two-piece system. So if you look at this prime frame, it comes with the prime walls, which is this glass-filled nylon injection molded piece. This is the plastic that we also use on our balance frames. It's the same material. So same material as used on the balance frame is used on the prime walls. The main difference, and you can see it very obviously, is this aluminum core on the inside. So this core is made out of extruded aluminum. What that means is, just like pasta, you stick a lot of hot stuff on the top. So in making rotini or something like that, you'd put all the mixed pasta on top. You crank it around and it spits it out this little tube, and then you can cut the pasta as often as you want. This is an extrusion. So if you look down, you can see the extrusion, completely straight lines. So this gets hot aluminum, and then it squirts it out, this extrusion. We then take these cores, we cut them down to this profile with the holes for the axles. We cut out the UFS bolts and the area for your wheels and the recess for UFS. You can then put your walls on the core, and so long as you stick with 270 and 250, the split can be whatever width we want. The groove can be as deep as the core is. It can be however we want it to be. Now, in the past, the only way to make a wall was injection molded. So you would have to spend 10 grand, give or take, on a big mold that typically is stored at a factory. Then they put it into a machine that uses, plastic pellets, melts those down and injects them into the mold, cools them down, and then out comes a frame wall. That's the way that we've been doing it for 20 plus years. That's the way that it's always been done. With the core system, because this core is aluminum, it takes all of the weight, it doesn't flex, it's nice and solid. You don't have to worry as much about the structural integrity of the walls. The walls don't matter as much. This is where all of the impact goes. This is where the strength comes. So we open sourced our design for this core so that anybody could download the core developer kit and make their own walls at home using a 3D printer. Now, we announced this back in, when was it? June of last year, January of last year. It was one of those early months of 2021. And the developer scene was like remarkable. The amount of people that downloaded the core developer kit in the first couple of days blew my mind. It was hundreds of people. And that, for me as a developer, really meant something. People were interested in the project. People were interested in kicking the tires to see if they could do something. We provided sample files so that you could just print a wall at home. You didn't have to do anything. You would just throw the sample files in your 3D printer and you could just print your own wall, and you could go out and skate Flat 65, which is a pretty fun ride using these cores. But they didn't stop there. They started designing their own walls for however they wanted to skate. And we've had probably a dozen walls that I've seen. I think we've got about 5 of them on the core frame market right now that have been submitted. But I've seen, dozens of walls out there that people have designed, maybe just for themselves, maybe they're selling them directly. We don't care. We just want more people to go out there and experiment with frame design. My personal story, I'm a product designer. I love doing product design. but it's always so cost prohibitive to do frame design. You know, I always had ideas on how I could make the best frames, but it's 10 grand to create a set of molds. And then you've got to worry about minimums. You know, you've got to buy 300 sets of frames at a time. And frames cost a lot of money. So you're spending, you know, 15 grand to get 300 pair of frames or something like that. It's a lot of money for something that might not be exactly the way you want it. So we open sourced the core system so that people could make their own frames however they wanted. And some of the developers went out there and made their own frames. So we've had a few frames that have been very successful. If you are interested, you can go to the coreframemarket.com. That's the website that we put together where designers can upload their frame drawings so that I can print them, I can take pictures of them, and I can list them on the market so that people can buy them. And we are able to print them. So not only can you print your own frames at home that you design, but if you want to support one of the designers, you can buy them from the Core Frame Market, and you can get yourself a pair of frames that have been 3D printed, put them on your cores, and go out there and skate. And if you like them, great, skate them as much as you want. If you don't, you want to try something else, take the first and the last wheel off, pull off the frames, put them back on, and you can go out there and skate again. Really, really fun. It's been an amazing project. I got 3 more frames that I wanted to share tonight. And they are from 3 new designers that I haven't been able to, haven't spoken to before, which is great. I'm going to open up my notes real quick. All right. So the first frame. This frame is new. These are all new to the market. They will be available in the weekend, probably. I have to set them up and get pictures on. I just got these set up, and I haven't been able to put them all together and take the pictures yet. But I will, and I'll have them online hopefully this weekend. This one is called the Dark Mage Cuts 60. So this, very different. If you look at the prime frame, this is the same core. This is a large, but yeah, this is a large, this is a medium. Do I have a medium? I don't have a large. Is this large? All I have is mediums up here, but you get what I mean. This is the same core, it's not even silver. This is the same core as this. So if you got a pair of the Sasha Lopez frames, you could take these blue walls off, reuse the silver core, and get yourself some of these Cuts 60s. They are a flat 60 frame designed for flat 60. You can see there's a really nice ample wheel bite protection in the middle. They are optimized for flat 60. So you don't want to skate these with, you could probably get away with skating with 58s. I wouldn't skate these with 56s because this wheel bite protection comes really low. You might have some issues rubbing on the ground if the wheels get too low. Flat 60 is really the way to go with this. You could see there's a little bit of a raised area on the sides. This is really good for top sides, and sole tricks, keeps the resistance down, and it helps you lock a little bit better when you're doing top sides on rails or coping. The coping will stick right up here. It's a really nice area for it. These are available in white and black. We will have the listings up this weekend so that you can take a look at them. We also link to the designer. So not only can you buy them from the Core Frame Market, you can go to the designer's website. They might have more designs on their website. They might have different colors. We only do black and white on the Core Frame Market. But if you want a specific color, you might be able to contact this designer directly. We'll have links to all of this information on the coreframemarket.com this weekend for you. So this is the Dark Mage Cuts Flat 60. It's a flat 60 frame. Another nice looking flat frame. This one is called the Boonies Flat. It's got a really deep, tight groove, which if you look, again, very similar designs with wheel bite protection, but very different frames. You see the grooves are very different. This one's a lot less narrow. The bottom of the groove is almost as low as the sidewalls. Here, the bottom of the groove goes all the way up above the sidewall. Super, super nice. Very different design. You can see it's got a little bit of the nubs on the sides, just like the other ones. It's got really big wheel bite protection in the bottom. This one has a 122 mil split. So from 2 to 3, it's 122 millimeters. So the prime frames are 120. So this is a few millimeters wider than that. And with the wheel bite protection, this is probably a really great frame for flat. The designer says that they've tested down to 55 millimeters. So because of the way that this bottom is chamfered, you could probably skate smaller wheels and still not have any issues with wheel bite, not rub on the side of the wall. Really great design. And then finally, this is a weird one that I love to see. This is our first freestyle frame. I don't think we've had a freestyle frame. This is the Flebo, I think that's how you pronounce it, Flebo faux rocker frame. So look at this thing. So this is a freestyle frame. Probably rides 60 millimeter wheels on the outside. It is a big, nice anti-rocker style groove. It's a deep groove with a wide groove. And instead of wheels on the inside, which, you know, normally if you were skating anti-rocker, you would have anti-rocker wheels, or you'd have a flat setup, you'd have wheels on the inside. This thing is 3D printed wheels. So you get free wheels with it. They don't spin. They are built into the frame design. Very cool idea. I really love this frame. I don't know that I would skate it personally. I haven't tried them yet. But for people out there who want a freestyle option, this is a really great idea. I would recommend, I think these are 43 mil. So these anti-rocker wheels effectively are 43 millimeters. So I would definitely recommend skating with at least a 60 mil, maybe a 65 millimeter wheel on the outside. You don't want to rub this on anything because you're not going to get any spin. It's similar to a juice block, but I bet the height of the juice block would be much lower. Kind of like skating just with no middle wheels. Very, very cool idea though. So you could go to coreframemarket.com and you can pick up any of those 3 designs. We will print them for you. Unfortunately, right now, I'm the only printer on the network, so it might take a little bit of time for me to get you your frames, but we will print them for you. For every print, the designer gets a cut. So frame walls, for a pair of frame walls, it's $50. The designer gets $10 for every set of walls that is sold. So it's a great way to support the designer. If you want to support them even more, you can go to their website and you can buy directly from them. They'll handle all of the printing, all of the fulfillment, all of that stuff. You'll be able to get different colors potentially. There's a lot of options out there. We'll put all of this information up on the weekend. I just need a little bit of time. I don't know when on the weekend, but sometime this weekend we'll have them live. And I'll make sure that I post somewhere, probably on the 50/50 Frames Instagram, that everything is live. They are both available. They're all available in white and black, 250 millimeter or 270 millimeter. Those are the different wheelbases. So each of the cores, same extrusion, but they're available in 2 different lengths. So you can see the medium, this is 250 millimeter. This is the large, this is 270 millimeter. We also are very happy to announce the 290 millimeter. So anybody out there with a big foot, size 12 and up, will appreciate a 290 millimeter frame. This is a very long frame. I have one with a prime frame printed out for you to see. This is what they look like compared to this medium frame. This is a medium Sasha Lopez with the extra large 290 millimeter prime frame. This is a 3D printed version. These are also available. They are not on the Core Frame Market. You'll get these from 5050frames.com. You can go to balancedist.com. to see them. They are available in black and white, 290 millimeters. So this core is the same UFS. This prime frame has the same split, the 120 millimeter split, but from 1 and 4, it's 290. This is for people with bigger feet. The reason we can do this is because of 3D printing and because of an extrusion. So the extrusion allows us to make cores in any length we want. All we have to do is change the profile and the distance between these axles. So we can make 250, we can make 270, and we can make 290. Now what about all of these designers? What are they going to be able to do with a 290 frame? Well, we are hopefully going to have the 290 mil core drawings added to the core developer kit by the weekend. So anybody who's out there as a designer, if you go to our GitHub, you go to coreframemarket.com/developers, you can find all the information. On GitHub, we have our core developer kit. You'll be able to see the versions, see what's been updated. This will be available hopefully this weekend, the 290 version, after the designers have a chance to download that and update their designs to fit a 290 millimeter core. They can upload their new designs to the Core Frame Market, and we will have them available for the 290s. The nice thing about that is that with this last shipment, we got a bunch of cores in. So I wanted to make sure that we had enough for the Core Frame Market so that people could buy the core frame with the walls that are on the market instead of having to buy a pair of prime frames. I totally understand. Somebody wants to get a Hexy, somebody wants to get a Dark Mage frame. Where did it go? This one, Dark Mage frame, but they don't want to buy a prime frame to begin with. We're trying to figure out a way to make the numbers work. These are very expensive. We don't make money when we sell these, but we will make some money if we sell the walls. So if we're able to sell the walls with the core, we'll be able to sell them from the Core Frame Market. You'll be able to get these without having to buy a prime frame to begin with. Those will be available this weekend as well. So we will have 290, 270, and 250 available for all of the designs that are supporting them. You'll be able to buy them just as the walls. You'll be able to buy them as a kit. So you'll get the cores, you'll get the walls, and you'll get the axles. So you'll be able to just throw in your wheels at home and put them on your skates and go out and ride. We'll also have them available as ready to roll. So if you also want to get bearings and wheels from us, save a little bit of money, and we can give you a ready to roll setup. So you'll be able to have them, put them straight on your boots, and go out there and skate without having to worry about anything else. Lot going on. As far as numbers of cores, I've got a bunch in stock. So if you were at all interested in getting, the Justin Thursday walls or the Hexy walls or something, and you didn't want to buy prime frames again, you can go to the Core Frame Market this weekend. You can buy a complete kit. I'm not going to run out anytime soon. If you are a designer, this is a really good question. If you are a designer and you don't have a wall on the market yet, but you want to get a pair of cores so that you can test your design, and you don't want to buy a pair of prime frames, get your design started. If you can send me a STL of your design so that I can check it out and make sure that you're actually working on it, we give all the information that you need to start designing is in the core developer kit. You don't need a core to start designing. You can print out your own cores at home. They're not going to work great, but you can print them out if you just want to test the fitting. If you get to a point where you say, I think my wall is good, I want to start testing them on an actual core, send us an email, law@5050frames.com. You can find it all over the website. And say, hey, I'm a designer. I need to get a set of cores. I'll take a look at your drawing, and I just want to make sure that you're actually doing it, because again, I don't make any money on these, but I want to support the designer community. So if you do need a set of cores, we can talk. Give me an email, law@5050frames.com. I want to make sure, even if you're not selling through the Core Frame Market, I want to make sure that you are able to have all the materials that you need to sell your walls, regardless of where you're selling them. I think it's important that we keep this community alive. I think the more people out there skating cores, the better, because that means that more people can design walls for more feet, more skaters. So if I can help you as a designer, reach out, let me know, and I will definitely get in contact and let you know how we can make this happen. All right. I think that's it for the frames. If you are curious, 3D printing is slightly different than injection molded. It's all going to vary by quality, of course. The print, I've got my prints dialed in pretty nicely. I've been doing a lot of them recently. But it all depends on who's printing them, what material you're using. Typically with a 3D printed frame, you're going to expect slightly faster wear and slightly faster speed. So it's going to be more glassy, more like fast when you're skating ledges. Not in a great way, a little bit more uncontrollable, because it's going to wear a little bit differently. As soon as it starts getting to a point where it's worn in nicely, it's not going to wear any faster than any other frame. So it's going to wear down the little edges that you find on your frames where there's like a chamfer or something, that little edge, that's going to wear down quickly. As soon as that wears down and starts being this big area that you're grinding, you're not going to wear them very quickly. They take a lot longer to wear down than you would expect, especially for a 3D printed frame. They're a little bit heavier, so they're a little bit heavier than a injection molded frame. I actually have my scale here. I can measure them. I don't have any frames without wheels on them though. Yeah, I don't have any cores without wheels. I don't want to take them apart right now. They're a little bit heavier, just take my word for it. A little bit heavier for the walls than they would be if you were getting injection molded walls like the prime frames. Just a trade-off. Again, weight isn't that big of a deal if you're skating, but you will notice there's a bit of a more weight for 3D printed frames than an injection frame. And that's about it. You know, they're great frames. It's a really great technology. I'm really, really thrilled with how well it works. It was kind of a dream when we started this project that it would actually work, and it actually works. So I'm super happy to see people out there creating frames, going out there and skating their own frames. Again, coreframemarket.com for more information. You can see all of these designs. I will have the new frames up this weekend, and I'll have all the inventory up if you would like to purchase anything. coreframemarket.com/developers if you're interested in learning more about 3D printing frames for yourself. If you want the developer kit, that will be updated this weekend as well with the 290mm core. So you can get started on supporting all three sizes of the Core System 2. And yeah, thanks to all the designers out there for taking the time to download it, to take a look at it, and I'm thrilled to see all of your designs. There's so much creativity out there that I was just dreaming would happen. So again, thanks for your support, and keep the feedback coming. We're always listening. I want to make this a good thing for the community. So if you have any suggestions on improvements, I'm all ears. All right, that is 3D printing in a nutshell. I hope that you get an opportunity to try a 3D printed frame. It is a really fun experience, especially if you print it yourself. You know, that's how we tested this to begin with. We had a 3D printer and we printed it out. That's how we tested the Balance 2. I don't have it in front of me, but I built this frame and put it on a core so that we could test the groove, we could test the recess, we could test the split. And it was all done with a 3D print just to make sure that the numbers work, that the ratio, that the distance and the split and all of that worked properly. And then we sent it off for the injection mold. And I know other companies that have tested on the core and now they have an injection molded frame. It is an amazing feeling that I'm able to support this industry like that. All right, let me get some water and then let's take questions. I'm going to wrap up after the questions. If you've got any questions, tag back to blading. I'd love to answer your question. I'm going to get some water and let's get through this. All right. Diabolus BR, it would be amazing if you did a Gear Talk episode comparing the carbon aggressive boots If I'm not mistaken, the only one you're missing is the Faction Tactical V1. I actually have my factions over here. I was one of the first people to get them. I pre-ordered them and I drove up to the compound to pick them up. I have my first impressions video and about a month of skating into them. I don't have my final review yet. I just need to finish that up. I know they're good skates. They're not for me. They don't fit my foot perfectly, but I see a lot of people out there loving them. So I think they're really great skates if you can find them. I know that they're a little difficult to come by right now, but that's not a bad thing. A video comparing all of the different carbons would be great. I like the idea, especially now that we've got more options. The adapts are probably my favorite, but I was a big fan of the USD carbons. And, I have the Seba. I like the Seba. They don't fit my feet perfectly, so I think gutting them and putting the Intuition liner is going to be really nice for Wizard stuff. But great suggestion. I would like to do that. Might not be a Gear Talk. It might be an episode of just a video by itself. But I can definitely talk to it on Gear Talk if you have questions. And thanks for watching. Shelby, I took your advice and ordered the Adapt Brutales. They're being built as we speak. Excellent. That's always a fun feeling. Though I'm running into a huge problem finding aggressive frames that fit a European size 36 boot. Help. Ooh, yeah, it's tough. So our smallest frame is 250 mil. That fits a size 6 to a size 9. A European 36 is like a 5'6", and that's a small foot. We don't sell that many products to people with that small of feet, or we would make a smaller frame. The only frame company that I know that makes a small frame out there is probably Cultic. They make a 240, I think, and that's probably your best bet. I think the V1 Cultic is available in 240. I've heard it's a really great frame too. My friend Grant Hazelton skates them and loves the V1s, even though he's sponsored by Cultic. He could have whatever frames he wants. He prefers the V1s. That's the frame that he likes to skate. So it's a great skate. It's a flat frame, so you can skate flat with them. A little bit of wheel bite protection. One of the first with wheel bite protection. So definitely a really nice frame for skating that. And I think it's available in small sizes, definitely available in Europe. I would give them a chance and see if you can find Paracultic V1s. That's probably my recommendation. And good luck with your adapts. Can't wait. Anthony Mahea, patiently waiting for your boot project. It's going to be a bit. So I can give you a little bit of an update. So since Brandon was watching all of my videos and putting them all on his Blader News. I appreciate it, Brandon. Thank you so much. But I got to watch what I say because people are watching. What I can say is we are making some modifications to an existing mold. So this isn't a brand new mold from the ground up. There are brand new molds involved, brand new boot molds involved, but most of this is going to sound so funky. And I'm not trying to avoid answering the question, but it's funky. And I guess there wasn't really a question, but either way. We're making some modifications to a boot mold, and that boot mold is almost done. So once the modifications are done, you won't recognize what the boot was. So you won't know that it was just some generic boot. It's at the same factory that our frames are made in China. So it is a mold that you might have seen in the past. This new, when you see our skate, nothing looks like it on the market. We are inspired by a lot of my favorite skates. Clean look, my style. I like a clean look, not too flashy, no vents or holes in the boot. It's an aggressive boot. And it is designed to be lightweight. It's designed to be a little bit flexy, but not too flexy, a little bit more supportive. And they started work on that. I don't have any updates yet, aside from they sent us some progress shots, and they're still a little bit out from having the first samples. So we do have the boot coming as soon as we get the boot sample. So the way that this is going to work, and this is all going to be in secret. We're not going to share until it's ready, but we are working on a boot. The shell itself is the first thing that's being modified. So that's being worked on right now. The Cuffs, brand new cuffs. So completely new cuffs that we're designing. We're paying for cuff molds. It's going to be a 100% brand new cuff. So again, it's going to be a skate that you've never seen on the market. As soon as they're making the cuff molds so that we can test the boots, cuff molds and the shells, they are making liners. So we are making a custom liner. The liners are fairly thin, responsive. I wouldn't say material is like Intuition, but it's definitely a higher end liner, more of a responsive, less of a pillowy crown liner, more of like a Rossi's Majestic 12, I think, is one of our inspirations. The old Solomon liners are one of our inspirations. We wanted something that was going to be very thin so that you felt the boot instead of your foot slipping around. That's kind of the vibe that we're going for. Once I get those three pieces, cuff, it's going to be a stock buckle. We don't have a custom buckle yet. But as soon as we get those three pieces, the cuff, the shell, and the liner, we're going to get them over here and we're going to start work on the sole plate. So first we're going to check the sizing, then we're going to start on the sole plate. The sole plate, again, custom sole plate we're going to design. We've got some samples that we sent over there of drawings, but obviously not until we get them in here and start testing are we going to be able to finalize the sole. But it's going to be a brand new sole plate. Again, brand new molds for that as well. It's an expensive project. But as soon as we get those sorted out, it's going to be skatable, and we'll test to make sure that the Royale groove is great, sole lock is good. We'll even make sure that there's a little bit negative for Jeff, because I know that some skates have negative. We want a little bit of negative, not too much negative, but a little bit of negative so that you can skate negatives. But a good sole, a good topside, and a good groove for Royales. Those are the three main things that I like on a sole plate. Going to work really hard on dialing in that design, and then I think it's 45 days from when we send our final design over that we get the actual sole plates. While they're doing that, they're going to be working on the other sizes. So we're going to try to do a full run of sizes. Not individual cell sizing yet. That's the dream. But, one shell for two sizes, just like everybody else. But once we sign off on the design and we get the sole plate started, they're going to start on the boots. Hopefully I'll have something to share in November. That's our goal. I don't know that that's going to happen, just being honest. But hopefully we'll have something to share in November, and hopefully we'll be able to start production in January, and we'll have skates available in March or April. So early spring is where we're kind of aiming at. Again, anything can change. I'm telling you this because I like to be transparent. I like to test stuff in the open so that I can get feedback early and often. And I'm really proud of this project. This is something that we've been working on for about 3 years. And I'm really excited to get in front of you so that you could see it. We're working really hard on keeping the price point down. It's not going to be a cheap skate, but it's definitely not going to be an expensive skate. It'll probably be mid-market so that it's more accessible for everybody. We want to make sure that everybody can skate it, We're designing it so that it will be flexible enough for every style of skating. So stay tuned. I'll give you more information as I can. And it's exciting. I'm sure you can tell, but this was the dream, be able to have the whole line, bring back the frames, and then it's like, ooh, what else can I do? And the only thing missing is a boot. So I can say, here's everything that I do. And I'm proud of every part of this, and have somebody be able to skate them. And then feeling that I go to the skate park and I see somebody skating my skates is going to be incredible. So thanks for asking. Thanks for the support. And I'll keep you posted. Darren, hey Lawrence, I use the Mega Frame size large with a flat 64mm Anthony Poitier wheels. The frames look similar. Do you have any frames with larger wheel size with 64? We do not yet. So the Prime Frames max size will be a 60. The reason for that is because we wanted as big of an H-block as possible with as big of a split as possible. So if you fit a 60mm frame in or wheel in, how many 60s here? No, they're all 58s. If you fit a 60, it will still work. So you'll be able to fit 60mm in there. If you look at the top, this wheel is pushed as far over to this core as possible. Now, because we have an aluminum core, we can make this mounting area much thinner than a plastic frame. If you look at a plastic frame, like a balance frame, it's kind of hard to tell, but there's a lot more material up here in order to keep it from pulling through. We can make it super thin. I think it's 2 mil up here, maybe 3 mil up here. That means that we can push this out as far as possible so that we can have a 120 millimeter split, but not have to put the wheels underneath the frame bolts like some other frames do. In saying that, it only fits a flat 60. If we wanted to fit a flat 65, we would have to compromise a little bit in this split. So we're planning on doing something that can support bigger wheels. Definitely want to do a 65. This frame was designed to ride flat 65. I want to make a frame that rides flat 65. But this isn't it. And I don't have one on the market that allows, the core frame market or on our market that allows for that. In the future, we will. Right now, I think Mega frames are your best bet. They're a great frame. I've skated the Mega frames flat 65, had a great time. Not a huge market. Not a lot of people out there want 65s, and if they do, they're not really, or 64s, and if they do, they're not really skating 64s. I think more people skate 64s with medium wish frames than 64 flat. And that might be because there aren't a lot of great 64 millimeter wheels out there. I don't know. I think the Mega frames are pretty good, but they're probably the only, there's the flat frame. The flat frame is a flat 65. But that's really it that's optimized for 65 millimeter millimeter wheels. Yeah, I think there's a potential there. I think we need to make better 65 millimeter wheels, and I think we need to make a frame that can accommodate that. I don't have either of them yet. My 65s are okay. They're not great. And I don't have a frame yet, but soon. Maybe next year, I hope, if I can get everything done. We'll see. Alexander Saint, I'm having some trouble getting boot down on my Colts and prime frame. How does the prime frame stack up height-wise versus some other popular frames? Any suggestions? Yeah, so if you are already familiar with Colts, oh, where's my, oh, there they are. So if you are already familiar with Colts, I don't know what backslide plate you're using, I found that the Colt was a little bit more difficult to do royales than some others. The way that this groove comes in a little bit more makes an effective royale angle a little bit steeper. Featherlight 3 would be a really good option. The prime frames are not the lowest frames out there. The groove distance from the, do I have my calipers? Oh no, I forgot my calipers. Shoot. I don't have my calipers, but the distance between the top of the H-block, the top of the groove, and the top of the frame, this distance is the same as our balance frame distance. So you're not going to get any, kind of see it, you're not going to get any real advantage skating these over balance frames. And balance frames were a little more difficult for me to learn getting boot down on royales. Few tips for you though. First off, I would probably try skating anti-rocker. If you skate flat, actually, it might not be bad because then you can overcommit and you know when you're not boot down, you're going to get wheel bite because you've got to get boot down in order to avoid wheel bite on prime frames skating flat. But I would skate anti-rocker. I think that's a little bit more generous in order to get down. Make sure that you bend your legs a lot. Make sure that you push that front foot out as far as you can. So when you jump on royale, it's not just putting your feet together and getting down like this. Push that front foot out. It'll make your back foot squat a little bit more. You're just going to have to get used to it though. More royales will strengthen those muscles so that you can get lower. And when you get boot down, you're not going to slip out as quickly. It's just going to take a lot of practice. Wish I had a better answer for you. The prime frames are not the lowest frame. And that is why having a flat frame, a flat 65 frame like I was talking about before, really difficult. It's hard to design a flat 65 frame that is not super difficult for getting boot down on royales. Like if you look at the Aeon 72s, this thing. This groove is great, but it's really hard to get boot down on Royales. Just because it's so tall. And this is the sort of groove that you need if you want to skate flat 65. There's not, the difference between a 72 and a 65 isn't that crazy. Anyway, I wish I had a better answer for you. I think ultimately you're just going to have to get used to it. It's not a bad idea to skate different frames and get your strength up. Again, I'm assuming that you don't skate, that you don't do Royales that often. If you are and you're really good at Royales and you're just struggling on prime frames, I think a little bit more speed always helps. If you push your front foot out, always helps. And try the right object and make sure that you wax the heck out of it. It's a recipe for slipping out, I know. But if you have that back foot squatted and you push that front foot out, you should be able to hold yourself. Good luck. Tag me on the Instagram with a clip if you need a little bit more. I'm more than happy. I'm not a great skater, but I'm more than happy to give you a little bit of feedback if I see anything funky. Kevin Silva, when are we going to get a 50-50 boot? Just be honest and tell us one is in the works, please. One is in the works, but it's not going to be from 50-50. I think 50-50 is a frame company. It should be known as a frame company. I love 50-50 frames. People associate 50-50 with frames. So it's going to be a completely different brand, but definitely something in the works. 50-50 Chroma, Al, hey Al. 50-50 Chroma 60s with a skinnier profile, please, and also some 58s with a rounder profile. Okay, thanks, love you, babe. Thank you, Al. Yes, both of those are nice. So I love our 58s. I love this profile a lot. The problem with this profile is it's not super solid when you're skating anti-rocker, and I know that you love your anti-rocker, Al. I don't think you skate anti-rocker. But yes, a rounded 58 would be great. A profile like this with 60s on this frame would be even better. It's a lot of money. Every time we do wheels, it's almost as much as doing a new frame. So 56 first. I know that you don't like the 56, but 56 first, filling out the market, and then we'll look at making better profiles for the 60s and the 58s. I should say different profiles for the 60s and the 58s. I'm not saying that these are the best profiles, but I think we can make tweaks to make slight improvements to make them a little bit better. I think a rounded 58 definitely would be welcomed, especially compared to the 60s. So these are our 60s. I think this in a 58, that would be a really nice wheel. We'll see if we can do it. Got to get some money together. Need all the support. iRoller Boot, hey sir, thanks for all you do. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Haven't seen a video lately. Maybe I just missed it, but hope that you get some more videos going. It's always fun to see other people. I saw that you did a review on the prime frames. I didn't watch it because I don't watch what other people do with my stuff. It's just weird. I don't like watching, like when Brandon talks about prime frames. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to know what people think, I guess. I don't know. If they have feedback, they tell me. But I always feel kind of weird. I want to leave a comment and say, actually, this was designed like this, and I don't want to do that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Compass Quist, oops, I lost it. Goddamn YouTube. It did it again. It just decides to get all crazy. Man. Well, I lost some of the. I don't know what. I lost a comment. I'm sorry. I lost a few comments. I was scrolling and then YouTube refreshed and I lost what was there. So if I don't see your comment, I apologize. I don't even remember what it was talking about, so I apologize. But I am going to start. I got one from Freestyle Rolling. Would it be possible to make plastic cores for cheaper? Yes. So you can make plastic cores. I'm assuming you're talking about wheels. Plastic cores versus aluminum cores. Plastic cores would be cheaper, but then you're going to have to make a mold. So you're going to have to get those plastics from somewhere, and plastic, molds are expensive. So you're looking at like 5 to 10 grand for a mold, for the amount that you would need to make, for having the right quantities and make your margins worthwhile. So definitely something we're looking into, making a nice big mold out of plastic for wheels, but it's costly. But I'm never going to say never. I hope that we can share something fun like that in the future. Jeffrey rolls again, for the core system, have you experimented with resin prints as opposed to filament? I have not. I did do some resin prints. We did an SLS print for the Chroma anti-rocker wheels. So Chroma anti-rocker wheels are based off of a 3D model that I created, and then I had an SLS print made. I sanded it down and cleaned it up and treated it, and then made a mold out of that, and now I can pour my urethane into that mold and create a copy of those out of urethane. The resin itself probably wouldn't work super well. It might work well with a printed frame, but that would be a lot of resin. And finding a resin printer that is long enough, we use 300 by 300 millimeter plates for our prints. That's a pretty big plate. I don't know if you'd be able to find a resin printed printer this size, and if you did, it would be super expensive. The quality would be amazing, but it would be super expensive. I don't know how well it would work or if it would make any improvements. Probably not worth it, but not something that I've looked into. I encourage you to do it though. Get yourself the core developer kit, download some of the sample files, and print it out and see what happens. Shelby, please make smaller core sizes. It's a rough world having what the rollerblade industry deems as small feet. I hear you. I mean, there was somebody asking about smaller cores. We'll look into it. I'm definitely, we've got the extrusion. We can make whatever length we want. So I'm definitely hearing you. I don't know what the right length is, but we'll look into it and see what we can do. Maybe 235. I think that might be small. Maybe, it feels so small. 235 might be able to fit. I want to make sure that it can fit flat 58. So that damn UFS, ugh, so bad. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. No promises, but if I made big frames, I can definitely make small frames. Ravenous Pathogen, make a wizard wall for the 290s. I'll buy a set. There are plenty of people out there who have ideas about making wizard frames for 290s. So if we can put them on the core frame market, I'll sell them. I'd love to see that. I think that would be amazing. Andre Kramer woke up just now. Hey to y'all. Is it possible to measure the inside lengths of the God Tim Franken that you have? I want to downsize from 45-46 to 43-44. It isn't. I don't have my ruler. I don't know where it is. But yeah, I don't have a way to measure it. I'm sorry. You know what I can do? I've got this. I know this is 290. I can take the internal, where's my God? So are they both up there? No, one's down here somewhere. Here it is. All right. So this is the inside of the God's Tim Franken. This is a 290 core. So it is much longer than that. I will get a 270 core. Let's see if that works. 270 core. That's pretty close. So my hunch would be this liner being 270, which doesn't make sense. I don't know that this makes sense because the problem is, if you look at a boot, the inside of this isn't where the heel is. So the heel of your foot and the toe of your foot, that area is longer than this. So I don't really know how to accurately measure that area. But let me look into this and see what I can do for the next show. Because I get you. I would love to be able to tell you that you can downsize. But I can say that my feet are 28.5 centimeters. There's a lot of room in there. So if you are 29.5, I think you'd be fine downsizing into the size 43, 44. But I wouldn't ride the stock liners. I would bring your own liners. Get some Intuitions or something like that. All right. Roland Ashcroft, what do you think about dual durometer wheels? I like the God's dual durometer, but they're too small. A 60 millimeter, 85 inner, 90 outer with flat profile, or 62 70 round is a dream wheel. I love the idea. I also loved the God's dual durometer wheels. They were great. I didn't like the profile. They were a good ride, but I didn't like the profile. Another thing that we're experimenting with, I do think that the future of wheels is bright, and I love investing in wheels. Regardless of what boots or what frames you're riding, everybody needs wheels. So, and they're compatible with everything. So the market is huge. And I would love nothing more than to make the best wheels out there. I feel like our urethane is great. Now it's time to invest in wheel technology and figure out how to make the best wheel. Dual durometer is cool. I think it's a really great idea. I don't know what the right way to do it is, though. So we're going to test and see if we can make some samples and skate them and see if it's good. You know, I don't want to do something that isn't good that I don't like. But yeah, I think the dual durometer, I think there's a future there for sure. Michael Marcos, memory buckle, please. We're looking into it. The first will not have a memory buckle, but that's not to say that the future isn't going to have a memory buckle. I'm not a huge fan of memory buckles, to be honest. I think they're okay. They're just a little bit more fidgety for me. I do like them. Where is it? Where'd it go? Here. I do like it. I think the design is really nicely implemented. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Never say never. I think Rosie's has a patent on this one. I don't know if it's still a valid patent, but I'd have to look into that because I wouldn't want to get in trouble with Rosie's. They would be very angry with me. Zach Markham, no custom buckle yet. Kind of on that level. Can't wait to see the boot. So hyped knowing how you do stuff. It'll be for price for quality. Yeah, no custom buckle yet. It's one of the things that I don't think we have to spend money on yet. I would love nothing more than to have everything custom, but for the first drop, it's going to be as much saving money as we can to just get them out the door so that people can provide feedback. The buckle being non-custom, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. The laces are probably going to be stock laces too. I don't know. We haven't even talked about laces yet, but I think they won't be custom laces either. They're probably going to be some, wax laces that we find that are available. But yeah, there's a lot of the expenses that I've got to come up with money for, and trying to prioritize that. I've got my dream, and then I've got to scale it down to reality. It'll happen though. I have faith. J5, what size ranges will you have for the boots? It's a great question. We're not going to have a super big foot at launch. I think it'll go up to the 11-12. So the 11-12 shell will be the biggest one, and then all the way down to 10, 10.5, 8, 9, 6, 7. So 6, 7 is going to be the smallest. The nice thing is there is a smaller shell that we can get access to. So we can go lower and we could go bigger. It's just going to cost some money. To start with, we want to make sure that we focus on the sizes that most skaters have and hit as much of the market as possible. So that's the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10.5, 11, 12. Those are the 4 shells that we'll probably have at launch. Sizing is still getting tweaked a little bit until we can figure that out again. We don't have any of these done yet, but those are the shells that we have access to. Roland Ashcroft, do you think a boa or a-top closure would work with an aggressive boot? I think it would work really well with a liner. I don't know with a boot itself. I feel like they are more trouble than they're worth. I've only heard bad things about durability, and if you're skating aggressive, you're going to hit that thing a lot. So yeah, I probably wouldn't use a-top. A-top is, instead of using laces, traditional laces, a-top is, or what's the other one? Boa. They have this little, it's a really thin wire that is used for the laces, and then there's this like spinning like dial at the top that you twist. And as you twist, it pulls all of these laces together and it tightens your foot. Really great idea for fitness stuff. I don't know that it's a great idea for aggressive. I feel like you would damage it and it would probably fall apart. But I've never skated an a-top boa closure. I should probably get myself a set just to test them out before I say that I like them or I don't. Zach Markham, could someone potentially make a wall for the prime frame that would allow the frame to fit up to 64 millimeters? Yes. We actually provide in the core developer kit a flat 65 frame wall. It is not designed for aggressive. It is designed for testing, just to see that you can make it work. So it is a flat 65. So 1 and 4 are wherever they are, 250, 270, and then eventually 290. And then the middle are just equidistant. So it just is a nice flat 65 ride. So if all you want to do is skate around, you're good to go. There's no groove. There's no H-block to speak of. There's a little H-block just to keep the two walls together. That's it. Any developer can download the core developer kit and print one and have them, ready in a couple of days. So it's definitely possible. It's just something that nobody's really focused on. Unless there's a wall out there I don't know about. If there is, let me know and I'll talk about it next week. Zach again, would you ever consider making a two-wheel frame like the Caltic Freestyle or the Kaiser Type X? We do have a freestyle frame. So if you go to fittyfittyframes.com, you can find the core freestyle frame. We are 3D printing them because we don't have enough demand for a mold. But we did design a freestyle frame. The reason why we have a core is because the original freestyle frames from 50/50 were designed to be stronger. The freestyle frames at the time were breaking. We said, we can solve that. We're going to put aluminum on the inside of the core or inside of the walls and make the frame as strong as aluminum. And it worked. But freestyle isn't a super popular style. You can get some on the core frame market, though. This is that Fleabo Faux Rocker, I think it's called, which is a freestyle frame with little nubs for grinds. Oops. All right, am I done? Oh, YouTube, don't be dumb. Oh my God. YouTube is so bad. The problem is that y'all are talking too much and it's making scrolling very difficult. So while I appreciate you, just stop. 145 and no full disclosure. Come on. Hey, Corey, good to see you. I'm sorry. I haven't said it today. I don't know why. I should have, but sometimes I know you're waiting to drink. I'm sure there's been other things that you can drink too. It's great to see you though. Freestyle Roland, I was referring to making the cores out of the UHMW for the core frames and CNC them. Would that not be cheaper? No, you need aluminum. You can make the walls out of UHMW. So there are people who are experimenting with the developer kit and making the walls out of UHMW. That would be an option, and then this would take all of the pain, all of the impact from skating, and then you could just skate the UHMW. The problem with UHMW is it's soft. So it's designed for sliding. It's designed for assembly lines and making sure that, plastic like bags and stuff at the carousel doesn't, like at an airport, that it doesn't wear out and it just slides. It's a really nice, fast plastic, but it's soft. So if you made a frame out of UHMW, over time, the axle holes would open up because it's so soft and compress, and that would make a clacky skate sound. We made old frames. The first 50/50 frames were made out of UHMW. They worked great until you skated them. And then after skating them for a while, you could feel the clacking, and it wasn't a good idea. Shelby, the ladies, thank you. I know, it should happen. I'm sure you're talking about a smaller frame. It needs to happen. I'll make sure that it happens. Thank you for nudging me. Rapid Sebastian, I am a 28.5 centimeter like you. If you want a pair of Intuition Premium, go 45 instead of 44, as the toe box feels way too tight at 44. Good tip. I will definitely do that if I do that. Arger sizing similar to them shell sizing. It's closer, if you're referring to the boot, it's closer to Colt's. So it's a closer feel to the Colt. It has a slightly taller toe box and a little bit wider than Colt's, but very similar to Colt's. Xander, I think the Rosie's buckles are now public domain. Patent is 20 years, and they designed in 98.99 or earlier. Okay, I will definitely look into it. If we can make a buckle, I will definitely make a buckle, but it's probably going to be very expensive. We'll see. I don't think there's any sizes for buckles, right? It might not be that expensive. I'll look into it. I will look into it. All right, I think I'm at the bottom. It's been 2 hours of talking. I've barely drank any water, but I love you all. One thing that I didn't mention, we do the community challenge. So the Back to Blading community challenge for the blading community. And this is our last one. So as you can see, I've been really busy lately. And I just don't have the time to continue doing the edits every month. I love the program. I love the community, but I just want to make sure that I don't promise something I can't deliver. We are doing one last community edit. So if you have ever participated in the blading community, that's where we did a trick a month and everybody does the same trick and we all upload our videos and then I edit them together and I publish the video. We're doing our last one this month. So if you would like to participate, we would love to have more clips. I am extending it for another week. So you have until next Monday. So what is it? Today's the 7th. That's what the 12th. You have until the 12th to upload. Backtoblading.com/community is where you go to get all the information. This is our last community challenge. And we would love nothing more than to have everybody in the community participate. This is the last video that I'm going to be doing unless something changes and I have a lot more free time. All we need is a clip. So it's your best trick. So we're not doing a specific trick. We want you to do your best trick over the years of doing the community challenge, the trick that you're most proud of. It can be old clips. It can be a new clip, but we just need one clip. Upload it backtoblading.com/community. You have until Monday, so you got all weekend to do it. And yeah, we'd love to have you. I should have done some more reminders. I've been so busy, which is why we're not doing the community challenge anymore. I should have done some more reminders. A lot of people forgot. I want to make sure that people who wanted to participate get a chance to participate. This is the last chance. So backtoblading.com/community for more information and to upload your clips. I hope everything is good with you. Life has been a little crazy for me lately, as you can tell. Very excited, so I don't want to get too crazy again. But, you know, my wife had COVID and she's still like exhausted at 8 o'clock. So it's definitely a thing. My mother-in-law got COVID and now she still can't taste. So I'm doing everything that I can to protect myself. I know a lot of people have gotten COVID by now. There is a new vaccine. It hasn't been publicized too much. I know that, you know, we're kind of fatigued of COVID, but there's a new vaccine that is the old booster plus stuff for Omicron. I'm getting my vaccination on Sunday. I encourage anybody out there who has had a vaccination in the past, who still needs to get a vaccine, get yourself vaccinated. It's really easy to do. I don't want anybody getting sick, you know, not being able to taste for months bad. Like not being able to skate without getting winded, bad. Like let's protect ourselves, stay healthy. I'm getting the new vaccine. My daughter and I are going on Sunday, and we'll report back. I didn't have too bad of a response the last time, and knock on wood, I've been COVID free as far as I know. So I hope that this vaccine does what it's supposed to. Supposedly it does everything that the old vaccines do, which is great, but it also adds some protection for Omicron. Don't know how much protection, but if there's any protection to keep me from getting Omicron, that would be great. And yeah, hope you're being safe out there. I hope you wear your helmet when you go skate. I hope you go out and have fun. Wear your mask when you're in crazy dense areas. Schools are back, so there's more community spread. It's gonna get crazy again, but hopefully this new vaccine helps. I should be skating this weekend. I hope you get to skate this weekend, weather permitting, of course. It's been really raining this last week, but yeah, get out there and skate. It should be really nice. We have a nice treat for the next couple of weeks. I don't know that Gear Talk is going to be in 2 weeks. It might be in 2 weeks. Actually, it might be in 2 weeks. I think we'll do it in 2 weeks. What is today, the 7th? Yeah, hopefully we'll have it in 2 weeks. I've got another big shipment coming in. I don't know when, though, and I'd love to share the stuff on that shipment on the next episode. It'll be around that time, so I think it's going to be here in time. I will have a Gear Talk as soon as I know more. Should be 2 weeks. It might be 3 weeks. We'll see, but very excited about a few videos that I've got coming up. If you haven't already subscribed, take a look. Fly just flew into my eyeball. Take a look and see if there's subscribe so that you can watch the videos coming up. Should finish up all of my reviews. Got a lot to do. Not a lot of time. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's always great hanging out with my friends over here on Gear Talk. The fly is back again. I'm losing it. Either that or I'm going blind. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're safe. And I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Or maybe 3 weeks.